Yeah, and then you have the flexibility to look at things like lifesteal or anything that could maybe build some extra minus armor in the deso or just naturally as a
Ooh,
good tower here.
uh, I hope they didn't go lifesteal
No,
with the
not
Razor in the
lifesteal in this
game,
game.
but
I'm using it as like an example,
the
like the
idea, yeah,
template, the
sure,
idea of
sure,
those type of
that's
heroes.
fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dire team pick.
And they go for the Beastmaster.
Beastmaster.
Well, that's some tower
Ooh-wee.
damage, which means this is probably, I mean, this is what, tiny mid Doom support? It looks that way. You could play Beast support, is what I'm thinking, but I mean, we've seen it done, especially against the
You know
Treant,
what?
right?
No, surely doesn't forZe just pick Timbersaw?
10 seconds remaining.
Isn't there just like no way to kill the Timbersaw right now?
5
Yeah, I just love
seconds
this
remaining.
idea that the Treant player is at the same time shaking his head, going, she was like, no, 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 no. Or
Show
Vansker
mercy to
rather,
my
like, no, no,
trees,
no,
but
no,
like
please.
I just don't see a way that you can pick. You can run just the Timbersaw off lane. You just run over them tempo.
But you just doom him, right? When you get these big fights, you just doom him. You could
Maybe.
build Spirit Vessel.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe if there's a way to like still get yourself an offlaner that offers a dispel, then yeah, I like the idea because then a Spirit Vessel doesn't counter the Timber still. Hmm.
But the Timbersaw naturally buys Lotus Oil anyway, so
Yeah,
I think the whole idea of the vessel is kind of whatever because he naturally buys his own kind of self purge. But moving away from Timber, alternate options would just be some type of team fight to try and go up against HellRaisers because right now, in terms of vision, you've got the Beastmaster with the Hawk, and then you've got the ability for the Tiny and the Doom just to kind of be a little bit in your face as kind of they're going to be providing their own vision. On fours, you got Tree who can freely roam obviously between the trees, maybe get some deeper wards out, and obviously Invis at level 10. But it's going to be in terms of vision game. I think Hellraisers have that better vision that and they can utilize that to ensure that they can always get the correct setup. So if fours can maybe get a little bit more team fight in their draft, they can mitigate the vision advantage Hellraisers have and just make it really hard for Hellraisers to punish
Radiant
them due to
team
how hard it
double
is to fight them
and they get that bad.
and go for sustain instead. So
Yeah. So you can go for someone a little bit more glass cannony now as your final pick on fours, right? Someone that delivers a lot more damage. So you got the Razors as a front line. Maybe you run that in the safe lane, and then you're looking at possibly, your TAs of the game, your Shadow Fiends, these type of heroes that usually struggle because they don't have any protection.
10 seconds
yeah, I
remaining.
think I'd like to see this Razor side lane simply due to the fact that how many
5
melee
seconds
heroes are on
remaining.
Hellraisers and like the likelihood of their just like it's going to be Beast or Doom off lane, right? So no matter what, Razor's going to be able to have an okay lane. So yeah, I feel like Hellraisers have kind of drafted them into an awkward spot in which they
Dire
really have to
team
utilize
double.
this last pick to be able to punish Force just because their side lanes will be a little bit underwhelming.
Yeah, especially when you have things like the Treant, right? Treant Raise that just gives you the rundown opportunity between the long
Yep,
lanes and the grass to slows that are there.
yep.
So there is a
Again
Meepo
with like
ban.
the and even the like obviously we haven't mentioned it yet, but the obvious part is the Baden obviously counters the
10
Beastmaster.
seconds
So
remaining.
anyone you jump, you can instantly just get rid of that raw. And additionally, if they
5
jump anyone with the
seconds
Doom,
remaining.
then again, if the Baden's in the right position, just non-stop trying to miscoil, shield that person, it's going to be hard for Hellraisers. Like once they make that initial jump through the raw, they don't actually have a lot of stuns to keep them contained. They have raw, sinister gaze, toss, and avalanche. That's the four spells right now that they can use for to stop someone from running away from them. Other than that, see you, buddy. So this Abaddon, he's going to feel pretty confident in this game where there's not these big team fight spells that he has to think about. He can just freely move around the fight and be in a position as long as he's not the one
Dire
potentially getting
team
kind
pick.
of misplaced and out and like driven away from his team. Like it's going to be pretty easy for this Abaddon to get his heals off and get the sustain off in the game.
And then PL, surprise, surprise, even made it this far through the draft, is removed because obviously that's something Force has an issue with illusion based heroes right now. They might want to still deal with that because do you feel Hellraisers has room for like a Naga pick here?
10
Or is it too
seconds
slow?
remaining.
Potentially, again, it depends on this fours pick up
5
first. I think
Hmm.
seconds
it's
remaining.
too hard to think one pick ahead. So right now, it's
Yeah. It's like,
fours are identifying where are we putting this razor. Are we going to put him mid with the prediction that maybe it's a tiny mid, beast off lane, lich four,
Radiant
lich five,
team
sorry, doom
pick.
four. So
okay,
they
there you
pick up
go.
the Medusa, really solid hero. But also the key thing here. Okay, let's see what here.
Straight
Oh,
away.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I like
I
this
was gonna
because
say,
the Medusa's way too slow, right? Against the
yeah,
Brood comparison.
I'll say the last game, ForZe actually first phase banned the Brood out, but then in this game, it was like the only hero ForZe can pick is potentially a hero that can also flex between mid and safe lane. Medusa has been played safe lane in the major by 23 Savage of Fnatic, and then obviously mid before that. So they're confident running in both lanes, and obviously, as you can see here, if Gibkey's playing it, it'll be mid lane. But against the Brood, this is
Mhm.
HellRaisers also snap pick it as well. It's
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
like oh, go ahead.
did you know? Sorry, I was gonna say the key part about this draft is actually HellRaisers. They ban out the Meepo when okay, and which instantly forces out a PL ban from force. Because when you think about what the patch is currently about, PL is one of the better heroes, and Meepo hard counters the PL, right? So
Mhm.
in Hellraiser's eyes, it's like if we use this Meepo ban, we could potentially force force to waste a ban on PL because we're maybe forcing them down that kind of thought process. But we already know we're picking Brood. Because see how quickly Snap picked it. So potentially that last ban of Meepo wasn't because they didn't want to play against a Meepo, but simply because they wanted to cover themselves with a ban which wasn't the Broodmother.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was focusing on the Naga as a potential pick because it felt like they get rid of the PL because you looked at forZe's lineup, it's like, oh, we actually have no way of dealing with illusions, right? And
Hmm.
then yeah,
It
Medusa
just
gives you
works
that
well.
solution, but it's such a slow hero that you're suddenly so susceptible with these ridiculous run out of lane and just run at you type heroes like the Broodmother.
It's just, they're gonna have to like they don't actually have normally when you get brooded, you have a hero that you can kind of not accidentally, but you can kind of like, all right, guy, mate, you're going mid, you're having to suffer. But this game, look at his jaw. You don't actually have a hero that can naturally sit in that lane and not feel the pressure.
He's shivering right there. He's like, oh no, please not the DCs to decide games again on the third. Not like this.
Ugh. He's like,
No.
please come back.
Where's my master? Where's my controller? I think you're right. Like you don't have the front of bus option, right? If you stick a bad in there, yeah, we've seen a bad and just divert towards being support. This is the type of lane where you don't even slow down the push and you just feed. If you stick the Razor there, you're surrendering your early game aggression and control. So that just leaves a Medusa who needs a lot of gold already. And if she gets off to a bad start, she's going to be a non-factor for the first 30 minutes.
I'm just gonna put out like
The
quick
blinking.
chat with your fours boys. Look at their last game. Look at the control. It was a puck. Cool. They won their late game because of that the misplays from Hellraisers. But look at this game. What have they got? They got some root from tree and a
I like
lift
how
from Rubik.
half of the heroes are already dead and have given up, by the way.
He's deflated. Look at him. He's like, Captain, why have you not picked me any stuns again? And then Abaddon's plowing himself into a fit, like trying to get out of it too. He's like, where's the stuns?
Let me
Like,
go back into the
there's no
ground. I don't
way.
want to be here.
At no point, I'm just gonna make this clear. If this Broodmother dies once in this game, he will not die at all, ever. Simply due to the lack of stuns and how hard it is to catch him. If he gets Ags, Diffusal, BKB, any of these items, he is unkillable,
Oh,
hyper
okay.
mobile, and yeah,
I have one
this is the
scenario,
Brood game. Go
and
on,
that's if
try
you
me.
steal raw. That's the
Yeah, all
only
right,
one,
yeah,
right?
all
That's
right,
the only
yeah, yeah.
scenario.
I can see that as an option, but
I mean, even
I
if you
just
steal
don't.
Doom, it's not good enough to kill Brood. It's like you have to like the only. If I say that's the one play, it's like that's I'm reaching because that's all you've got. Is yeah, that's great. That will go
I
through
just
BKB, but eh.
the saving grace though for forZe's draft is simply Hellraisers don't have that clean of wave clear. They like the Beastmaster can do it with axes later on. He's gonna have his ore and obviously right clicks, but it's kind of awkward. And then you've got this Doom that can do it, but you have to use Scorched Earth for it, so it's not
You
always
commit
like
yourself. It's
an
not.
option.
Yeah, it's not like
So
a remote or far away. You are in if you're clearing
yeah,
waves.
so there is the potential that if forZe can move around the map a bit, get the Razor and Tree pushing out those lanes, Medusa's sitting tanking the front line, and when Hellraisers want to do that big high ground siege that they're inevitably going to do, if Medusa is this farm turret that is able to sit there, they can prevent the game and play for the misplays of Hellraisers and the siege, which has kind of been like the storyline of this game. Games have been won from the misplays of teams with the lead or the advantage in the wrong positions at the crucial points in the game. So it's I think it's going to be really hard for forZe to win this game, but there is the potential of utilizing the high ground, utilizing the wave clear advantage that they have, and that being their saving grace. But it's rough. I'm really clutching here to try and get something positive for him.
Sure, it's the issue whenever I see Medusa. I'm like, okay, you're playing a very slow paced game, bud. Medusa, a hero that it had a kind of uptick when we had the changes around Wraith Bands, right? And like you just stacked Wraith Bands and you went, right? When they made the changes to the camps at the mid and gave you some supplement gold close to your lane, we saw this hero dominant. Then once again it went quiet, and the issue was still the same as before. This hero doesn't really do anything early. Then they gave huge buffs to the ultimate. I think it's now up to 50% movement speed buff.
Oh, you're a speedy boy when you get to run around, but
Yeah, but
no,
it's like that's great for running away then, because I just don't see how they frontline with you. I don't see how you get to a point where they won't just wait a few seconds and still kill you.
nope.
But
We'll
we've seen
find out
plenty of
how
mistakes
much
happen.
this yeah, when this brood ramps up, we'll see what happens. But it just gives me vibes of the game we saw yesterday with the brood, where even if the game goes lane goes a little bit awkward, you're going to really force it into that mid game when they can get to roam freely around behind the brood. So yeah, uh,
And they have
you know what?
heroes that
Let's stop speculating. Let's just see how it develops.
yeah,
But
let's stop jerking off Hellraisers here, okay? They've drawn this,
the
okay? They're
brood
not
mother. We're
out.
on about the brood mother, not Hellraisers. The
Specifically,
single
yeah.
there we go.
Well, they have it though, so
That is true. That is true.
And I think the thing I was going to highlight though is the other credit they do have is on the out lanes, right? With the Beastmaster, with the Doom, there's a lot of split push potential. So if you draw too much attention to the Brood, you can do things elsewhere. So if we're looking at forZe instead, is the priority playing around this Razor? Does that work if the Razor is on the Brood Mother lane?
No, I think for forward it's about you have decent lanes through Abaddon Rubik through this tree +1, so you're gonna be able to have presence within the laning phase. It's how can you use that presence to maybe punish the outer lanes before the brood gets to the point of freely running around the map, right? So you have to try and get as much gold as you can from the outer towers and then utilize that for your key decisive fights that HellRaisers want to take due to their pressure that they will have leaving laning phase.
Okay. Hainan took a little bit of aggression there. He refused to load on the Scorched Earth just yet. Wants to keep his cards open in case he sees a very desirable creep at the start. But most likely you'll see Scorched Earth level 1. Did get some nerfs recently. We've seen teams trying to dial away from the Doom 4 a little bit because, it doesn't feel that good. So playing it in the free makes more sense. The Devour, I believe that got nerfed. There's 1 HP regen at the later levels, removed at all levels. Just trying to get us away from the ridiculous days of Pudge. No, I'm not. I play way too much Doom. I'm ashamed to say I play way too much Doom.
Oh, that's disgusting. But the toss, the tiny toss, it was like just before TI, it was like a big thing to throw creeps onto the hills, and then it fully died for TI. Like no one done it. No one even picked Tiny pretty much.
And we're back again.
Well, not Tiny, sorry, but done this interaction with Tiny. So let me rephrase that. And then we're back again with support Tiny that is, and then we're back again with the Tiny range creep. It just secures the lane. Like all he has to do, toss the creeps up, move to the pool camp. But
it's the new Enigma.
Like the Razor Broodmother lane, it'll be Razor can play the first couple waves because obviously he'll be able to link up the Brood and be annoying. But the Brood then just goes jungle and eventually just becomes a skip. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty even for now. But overall, in terms of the game, it's still gonna be a brood-based lane.
Fair enough. And then when you look at the outer lanes, HellRaisers, they do have a decent amount of sustain, a decent amount of push potential. But forZe, they've got these defensive heroes. They've got this Treant. They've got this Rubik. And for them, it's more about just buying time. Because you know that Medusa isn't going to be ready to fight straight after the laning phase.
No, but there is a time in which when Medusa gets to, let's say, for example, a Manta, her first item, that snowball potential of sitting behind the Medusa, it is present, but there's not something else to enable the Medusa to really force that into Radiant. So yeah, it's gonna be a long and rough one for forZe, I think.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Rough one for Chorus as well, as Gilga snipes one out. CS-wise, though, not too bad, especially from the Abaddon, who is asserting dominance in the bot lane. Up to 11-1 right now. Feeling pretty good, but Razor with a 13-6.
Yeah.
What denies against the Brood?
Yeah, like the in terms of like I said, the start of the lane is going to be fine. It's when the lane gets further on, and the Brood's able to freely run around. If the Razor at any point wastes any of their spells, then of course that's when the Brood can connect. But overall, the Razor, sorry, shouldn't be dying, but it's you don't stop the Brood farming, right? So that's why
Mhm.
I described it as such a win for this pick, because you don't have anything to
You don't have a way
really
of
eat
clearing
through.
all the little annoying spiders.
Not
And if you
all the
don't have
time.
that,
You're
well, it's the magic resistance, right? So the plasma field isn't even that good along the passive. They'd have to hang around for a long time would be the point. Once you get to like level 3,
Mhm.
level 4 spiders.
Yep.
Well, this is just going to look like Farm Fest in the bot lane. This is the interesting lane as Gilga gets brought down. Who needs trees to hide behind when you can just run at people?
The Medusa tree lane getting the kills.
I think it can go both ways, right? Because it comes down to both supports. So Tiny, tossbacks into creep waves deep, gets kills. Trent catches you in the wrong place with the grasp, gets kills.
Yeah, the lack of armor on Tiny, it really does punish you at some stages.
Sani will go down. It was a little bit close, but BCZ, he has the way of sustaining through the Photic Shield. And
And
Poshka,
Shu as well.
nope.
Ah,
I think he could have went for that.
Dyer's
He was
top
just a bit hesitant because he doesn't want to feed BCZ.
well, yeah, I feel like if potentially if you commit there, I don't know if he had any mangoes on the Lich left, so maybe not feeling that he's got. It's going to be about 2 to 3 right clicks, so it's going to be awkward. Ah, there you go.
Vengeance side. Funnily
There's
enough, under
yeah.
the Trent's tower. And in the
See,
mid lane,
this is now what happens, right? Yep. So now after the start of the lane, now the Brood kicks in. The
Oh.
Razor needs so many levels. Boom, spells wasted. Yep. This is Brood's chilling now.
Also, Gilgar is reading Medusa like a book created for 5-year-olds. That's the second time this core has been sniped. Medusa is still
Oh,
not getting
no.
the net worth gains through these new items. Meanwhile, BZZ, in case someone wants a little bit of vengeance, she's not quick enough. She better get the rune. Possibly the Scorched Earth, but there it is, living armor. That's an abort. Oh, well, with the help of Rubik, you can kill plenty of the little babylings of the Broodmother.
When you bring all the heroes in the game to mid lane,
Then
have
you
a
get shut
scuffle.
down the Broodmother.
But this rotation then leaves Funnick alone, which means he's going to die.
Gone.
Well, they do get the kill on mid, so
Exactly. They get the bigger one. 19 team goes down in exchange for Funnick dying.
Mhm.
And the thing is, you can potentially flip that into some pressure on the mid because this is the catapult wave. This is what I like, actually, the timing on that. Is you're
Yep.
going to force more die heroes here to defend.
it's a classic move. You play into 5 minutes, but the real question is, does HellRaisers actually use this, knowing that the Razor will respawn? TP's in, might be able to clear out the wave, so as long as HellRaisers keep numbers here, then maybe they can utilize the catapult, but
They're going to keep
they are
numbers.
keeping the numbers.
Straight on top of 19 team. He just TP'd back out. And living armor is adorable, but not enough to keep him up. Nyx gets the kill and backs away just in time as BZZ
Oh,
arrives.
BZZ, man, this was not the TP,
oh.
brother.
I mean, luckily, there was a little bit of misplay there as Nyx wasn't paying attention to his babies.
Dyer's structures are fortified.
However, the courier would be so lucky.
That's fine.
Gilga,
The Doom,
Slayer of Couriers, has lost his own.
the Doom now just chills bottom. He's just getting fat. Like, this Brood is forcing so many moves towards mid. And now that both supports have come in as well on both teams, the Beastmaster gets to chill top. Medusa does not have kill potential if in the 1v1. She needed the tree there as well. So this is playing in favor of both the Beastmaster and the Doom.
And that's why they say stick Treant back top. Because if you do leave them that one-on-one vacuum, I'd say Beastmaster can actually harass Medusa out a bit, right? Because you no longer lose your mana.
Yeah, it's
Doom.
mainly that Beast just gets too much.
That rotation, and just look at the XP disparity between these two now. Level 4 to level 6.
Yep, it's a rough one. It's
Dyer's bottom tower
Abaddon in laning phase. I think we've seen one game where it's been like a decent laning phase. Other than that, it's always been on the back foot and playing like this utility recovery mode where it has to make some aggressive moves and rotate into another core. But the issue this game is you had a bad lane and Razor's having like an awkward time mid. So where are you moving? Like, look at Razor, 1700 net worth, Brood 3.3k. What does this Abaddon do post laning phase? He can't enable his Razor. His Medusa's having a very average game. So all 3 cores and 4s right now are feeling the pressure of this HellRaisers draft.
He's just gone.
1,000, yeah.
And so Shu, what are you doing here?
Yep.
Wrong neighborhood, wrong time.
They were trying to kill the spiders just in time. If through both spell combo, they might be able to eat them, but Razor didn't have the spells up, so Chu just potentially just giving away his life. Yep, Gilgo with the toss. So
You know what this is? This is one of those moments in the films where someone walks in on the murder. Like, you know those murder films where the second murder occurs? And it's like,
Right.
oh, I didn't see anything. I swear I won't say anything. But snitches
yeah,
get
sorry,
stitches,
mate.
Rubik. All right, you're going down. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal. Now, as a result, they should lose that tier 1 in the mid, and that's when the Broodmother just continues to pressure and takes control of your jungle. So good luck on the recovery. Good luck on the Amplify and the Medusa with jungle stats. So where do you make plays, really, I guess is the question. Like, 19 teen has to rotate somehow, right? Maybe Beastmaster?
It's so hard, though. How do you rotate with a Razor Medusa of Adden cores that you don't? They're going to have to just accept that they're going to get absolutely whooped for the next 20 minutes and just try and eke out as much farm as they can. They have no ability to rotate. They've got Rubik Tree support. They have no ability to get explosive kills. They've got these cores. Like, they're going to have to just accept that the game's going to be awkward. I'm just going to try and farm up and then wait for the misplays to kick in and for this, like, timing of HellRaisers to kind of end. But this timing doesn't end for, like, another half hour, probably. So, forZe are just going to have to accept it.
Even if you look at like the 20-25 minute mark, right? You look at HellRaisers lineup, this is the kind that takes out all the towers and takes the entire map by that point if you let them have their own way. So forZe
At this rate,
needs some miracles in their base at this point.
Yeah, it's going to soon be a 5k net worth lead for HellRaisers at 10 minutes, so...
And it might be another dead Razor.
The draft is truly kicking in.
A Brood?
He went for the toss, but just...
No, it's because Nick's back away. Yeah, he's like, I want to farm creeps for some reason. He's like, no, Razor is worth so little.
I honestly would adopt the idea of, let me just farm. I don't want to keep running at people. There's a point in which running at someone becomes
You're
pointless.
beating the dead
keep
horse.
killing them.
Yeah.
Like, let the Brood get into his farming pattern, let him get to his items, and then run at them again. Like, you don't... Like, he's a 2.3k net worth Razor. Like, what's the point? Just chill. Gilgo can independently make the space by forcing him to think they might be killed, but you don't actually have to commit.
Yeah, you have double the net worth. Like, look at this logically. If anything, the Broodmother should just farm. That'll force forZe's attention towards her, and that's when like the Tiny can make these plays on the outer lanes and just punish them. Or suddenly it's like 3 heroes in the mid. Brood's like, okay, come here. This is worth killing.
Just look at the minimap though right now. Look how forced in they're going to feel. The Medusa's retreating from top because she knows that she can't play in her own jungle now. But the Vision from Radiant owns this jungle. So now they're locked into this top right corner. No, sorry, this top right corner of the map. There's not enough farm for 5 heroes here, so
I think
this
you're right.
is really spooky.
Like, well, in the last every time we looked at Razor so far, he's been put in that same camp, the triangle or the old triangle. It's not even a triangle anymore because there's nowhere else to go. And now BZZ, he's feeling a little bit lost. Borrowed time pretty early. Stolen Frost Shield out.
This is why they're making this play.
Kaysani TP's away, and it's going to be too late. Gilga tried to save the day, but way too late there. Might even give his own life over at this rate.
But this is a really good move from forZe though. As they go into Gilga now, this move is because they know they have to take this tower to unlock the Radiant jungle to get a new area of the map to play. If they don't make this aggression, then Medusa's forced out of her own jungle, forced into an area that they're all trying to farm, right? So this play here is to try and force TPs away, give breathing room for Medusa, and potentially make the map again another 50-50 split. It's unlikely it'll be a 50-50, but at least it's better than like the 90-10 it was shifting towards.
Exactly. And you saw that the kind of result of this was, yes, you get those kills. You might get the tower, but Beastmaster in the meantime takes the tier 1 top. Brood was pressuring mid, so Medusa had to abandon the defense at the top to defend mid. And then you'll just see naturally Beastmaster pushes in on the top tier 2.
Now this Dire Lineup's going to try and hit this tower. They will most likely get it because, as you can see, there's no way that Radiant can really get back into this area of the map.
No, you're applying.
Look, Beastmaster just hits the tier 2. Broodmother's running out freely in mid, so you're getting one tower, but you've lost all of your own side of the map at this point.
Yeah, the map is getting rather small at the stage. They have the Doom and they want to make a play of it. They're pinging mid. There's the Stone Gaze going out. The Overgrowth trying to get Nyx's attention. He's trying to get the Spiders away. There's a lot of gold to give over. The Chain Frost bouncing
the Lich
around.
ult.
Looking beautiful as they bring one down. The instant buyback comes out from Chu. But Trine, he can't join him in this venture. And Doom still has the ultimate after all that. Medusa will suddenly have to back up even further because now you don't even have that Stone Gaze to try and run away if they jump you.
This is just a showing of how the next 3, 4, 10 fights are going to look like. It's just going to be forZe running away, Medusa attempting to get one of their minimal stuns out, and yeah, and now aggression
She's gone.
continues. So
My
has no
God.
mana, Brood on top. Yes, yeah, there's
They burst through it too quick. Kaysani is just juking him out a little bit. She'll be able to get away with the static link, and instead, she will go down. That's going to be the dieback for the Rubik. 19 team. He does nothing in this game. Just gets ignored. Gilga is like, do I toss this one? I don't have a
Ooh,
choice.
Gilga.
Nyx is going to go in. The life
has
steal.
the ult though.
The
There we go.
turnaround, 19 team down. Fan score dies, and that should also be a tier 2 tower to boot.
This is, yeah, this honestly feels like one of your unranked games where you just get that kind of
You get the Smurf in.
Brood picker. He's going to 1v9 for you. He gets the last pick. All you have to do is like follow him around. You don't have to do anything really. You just have to exist, tank a spell or two, and then he's going to come in and clean up. So, whew.
Yeah, that's pretty much, when you look at the draft, that's how it works in a lot of ways. Just pick 2 cores that get gold, right? And that is something that Beastmaster and Doom don't tend to struggle with, especially Doom.
Well, it's the whole idea is Beastmaster allows for there to be a way to push and siege, and then Doom is just your default. My mid lane is now playing safe lane. What hero did I pick him? He can go play Doom.
So far, it is looking good. Things will just begin and continue to ramp up. It looks like it's going to be the Manta build for this Broodmother. Makes sense, right? For the extra mana burn against the Medusa, you just want to get through as quickly as possible, because if she does get to this miraculous point in the game where she can do something, this type of build just invalidates her straight away.
Oh, they're just taking Roshan as well.
Pretty kind of
Or
dry.
you can literally do whatever they want as long as they're together. This is the key thing. As long as they're as behind the Brood and at least 4 heroes, then there's no way that they can truly misplay hard enough, I think, against forZe. And that again is due to the lack of lockdown. If they go obviously like 1 by 1, try and TP defend a tower and play them out poorly, then of course there's ways for HellRaisers to make mistakes here, but it's so hard for forZe to even find these moments or even punish it when they occur.
True. You just know 1 by 1 we go in and we die situation, and this Broodmother is unkillable. You mentioned it earlier on. You'd be surprised if she dies. And when you got things like the Frost Shield and this kind of lead,
And I've just got the Van Brace as well, so
and BZZ
he's going to be
just
able
dies.
to toggle between farming and magic resistance. So, oh, poor BZZ, mate.
I think that was just the Beastmaster and the Lich as well. So not even the hard hitters necessarily HellRaisers were on that gank, and a bad usually hero that you expect to get away with that sort of positioning at this point in the game, but 9k net worth lead at the 15-minute mark. It's getting rougher and rougher.
Tree's having to act like a meat shield here. He had to partner up with his Medusa and go, all right, you farm these camps. I'm going to stand here, because if they smoke and run at us, I'll be the one dying for you. And this is the only play that they can really make on forZe, is to hope to act like continuous meat shields. But now the issue is high ground's the next play. You can't really body block the high ground situation. This will just be we're taking your base now. So this is gonna be a difficult hold.
That's the thing, right? Is low cooldowns on your death timers, but when they're this close to your base, they'll make use of it. Borrowed time was forced out that easily. And they're just like, do we go? I mean, the glyph, they can see the pressure coming in. They go, no. We're going to open up a scenario where we take one fight and we take the entire game. In fact,
This
they're TPing
Medusa's
top.
just trying to ignore the push, but the blink Doom reveal. Goodbye,
later.
Medusa. A for effort, trying to split push and trying to recover your game, but we're just not going to let you do it. We're not going to let you farm this top lane. We're going to kill you. But potentially the punishment
There's a
from
fight
forZe,
going on.
though. Can it
Broodmother's
happen?
trying to move across. They
Probably
got a little bit
not.
split,
No,
but it
there's no
works
way.
for them. And this is
Where's
just...
your catch?
I mean, forZe, I don't know what they can do. I don't see any play.
If this was a different game, like with a couple different heroes, in that type of move where your carry rotates to top lane, that's the natural movement to punish those people who are remaining. But when you're against a Broodmother and you have no stance, it doesn't work.
No,
This is just...
It's looking done. I just genuinely don't see how they do this. This is one of those... I want to say more rare examples where you just got
we have
brooded.
seen many discipline issues in these teams. We've seen teams somehow dive that little bit too far, or somehow find a way to make 40k gold look like it's nothing. So,
well,
let's
I
not
mean,
knock him out yet.
he basically dived the tier 4 to get a kill, right? So we need him to dive the fountain.
Okay, now
Dive
don't worry,
again.
now it's over. We're cool.
This
We're cool.
is
yeah.
Gilga might die
I was
for
giving it
this,
a little
but
level, but
It's pretty grim at this stage. They'll at least force them away from the base. They're a little bit upset to lose their tiny. Funnily enough,
I
dead
guess
for the same amount of time as the Medusa.
oh, that's kind of nice. I think probably the nicest thing actually is this tier 3 technically doesn't actually give any more gold to HellRaisers because there's not a shrine to take, right? So is there really any value in this tier 3 being lost for forZe?
Maybe if they go back in to hit the media racks, most
I'm
definitely.
honestly, I am trying my hardest here to make it not sound like forZe. Yeah, I'm giving up this line of
I
this
mean,
line.
like the
This
basic.
is so
Okay, so this is
painful
the
to
thing. Like
watch.
some people, they're like, "Oh, it's so one-sided. Why these casters like this? Pepega, Pepega, Pepega." But you're in this scenario where right now, forZe only come back into this because HellRaisers make a mistake. It is really
Horrendous,
hard on them.
multiple horrendous mistakes. Like, I mean,
I've been called worse, to be honest.
monitors turned off, power cuts, disconnects, this kind of stuff. This is what will stop HellRaisers from winning this game right now.
This just happened a moment ago.
Oh, look how
Don't
quickly
gaze
he
there.
loses his mana.
He
This
doesn't die
Medusa
though.
is so squishy.
KillerPigeon.
Ah, yeah, this is what I mean. This is the
Oh.
thing, That's 2k gold down. These are the mistakes.
Yeah, but
Mistake
look at the
number
brood.
1, tally it. Oh,
And then
hold up,
mistakes
brood
back and forth. The buyback
no,
out
I'm
from the
sorry.
tree,
Forgive
but
me.
too late.
Forgive my ignorance. I'm sorry. I forgot the brood existed.
Shut up, okay? Nix
I
is
don't-
not doing this wrong. He's like, I'm
Of
just.
course not.
This is exactly like that pub stomper who tells you to pick what you want.
Yeah,
He's
of
like,
course. This
go
is
in,
literally
bait
the
them,
brood
bait them
show.
right now.
This is the brood show, okay?
19
There's
team.
probably no communication right now. Nix is probably just playing. Look at him, just slap.
This is not
slap
safe for
Mantis.
teens. This is really not safe. Oh,
He's
little
got
bit
the
deep.
Aegis. Yeah.
Buyback from Razor. He has to get across.
There's no
though.
Medusa up to
Nope.
even stun him here. There's no stuns
And
as
they
well.
still have the Doom as well. Like, you can see that from K-Sign's like, just waves his arm. He's giving the shield, but what he's really doing is going, hi, guys. Still love the Doom. Day to
Fun
come
beats
out.
the drums.
All in all, forZe still have their buildings, actually. Because HellRaisers just kept looking for kills the entire time.
Yeah, but they just push again, right? And then now there's no buybacks. They used an Aegis because he was underneath tier 4s. The next time they make this play, they're not going to be going to tier 4s. So
No, because then you're in a scenario where forZe, they can't sit back. They can't rely on those buybacks to sacrifice for the Aegis. They're going to have to commit hard, and one kill could be the end.
I would like HellRaisers take these bottom 2 towers. So let's get that and get gold in. I know you're 16k up, but let's make it a little bit higher just to.
They just don't want to let up choking this team out. And now, the smoke rotation. Movement in.
Sorry. How is forZe attempting to try and take a fight here? They have no stuns. They have nothing. They're smoking out of their base with the confidence of an equal game. They're 15k behind with no stuns in their draft. Like, this is absolutely wild from forZe.
You got to do something, right? This is the problem. You're so far behind. It's a Hail Mary, but what other choice do you have right now? Choose making him work for it, at least. I'll give him that.
Oh yeah.
Radiant's
It's like, I might die, but you're not
look
devouring a
at
creep,
that.
bro. You're not devouring a creep.
Oh, he's juked himself.
Dire's middle barracks.
He knew the scorched
Alright,
earth was
yeah.
coming, but look
Alright,
at this.
cool. That was the most entertaining thing I think I've seen in this game so far. This has just been a 1v9
Oh.
brood situation.
Hold on. And
Oh
we've seen
no,
it. Now,
Medusa.
Robson, we've seen this in this series before. And someone making the same mistake in the same location 3 times, and it leads to a GG
No. This is different, good sir. This is different.
Is under
This
attack.
game is already the whitewash. You cannot use that card. The previous game, I will happily say that was a yikes
This
for me,
is true.
dog. But this game, it was just brood. Excellent draft from HellRaisers. Really picked apart forZe, and I think honestly, it's 2 games in a row now that forZe have had drafts that really lacked lockdown. They really relied on one hero, and I think as soon as the indicators came into HellRaisers that forZe was going for this type of draft again, especially with this. So they went Tree Razor, then they had the Rubik after that, and obviously I have a Baden as well. Like as soon as you see these types of heroes, you just punish it. You just pick a mobile hero that can run around and punish the fact of no mobility. And additionally, the Meepo ban, I think, to force out the PL ban, it really enabled this ability just to get Brood as the final pick. So yeah, HellRaisers showing why Brood is still a good hero when picked correctly. And yeah, forZe not turning up in the 3rd game.
No, and they'll be kicking themselves because that first game, they probably felt that should have been theirs. And that's the thing they'll look back on. Not this game. This is a brood game. This sort of thing does happen. Yes, you can learn from the drafting mistakes, but the big takeaway from them is what the hell happened in game 1. And HellRaisers, grateful for the opportunity. They earned this win, which means they are already in the grand finals. But mistakes have been made today. We know that from forZe. They're not out, however. They will be in the lower bracket. They have got a second chance. A redemption arc could happen because we will be back to continue the game coverage. The final day of qualifier coverage for the CIS region, where we'll have forZe versus... Wait, is that right? Who's Cyberleg? I think they got the schedule wrong. forZe versus J178, unless
There we
they've
go.
suddenly
Yep.
changed names.
No, it is 178.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, well, their schedule says Cyber Legacy. I don't know if there was a name change suddenly. I was like, did they get a sponsor? Probably not. So yeah, we'll have J178 versus forZe, and then whoever wins that will be up against HellRaisers afterwards in a best of 3. But that is it. Tomorrow, 16 CET, so a later start time than today. We'll see you then, folks. Thanks for tuning in.